So this is going to be an interesting conversation because we're going over a particular name that I think a lot of hockey fans who have been paying attention to the 2024 NHL Draft will recognize. But we're not talking about this name because of the 2024 draft. Instead, we are going over to the Detroit Red Wings and talking about their double champion prospect. A guy who has been in the Red Wing system for a few years now, and who has made himself known as one of the more, let's just say, less talked about guys in the system. Because today, we are heading over to the University of Denver Pioneers, the most recently crowned NCAA champions, and talking about defenseman Shai Buium. Now, the thing is with Buium, this is, I think, only the second video we've ever made talking about him as a primary focus. I know that we talked about him in the initial video when he got drafted, and that was literally 3 years ago at this point, but other than that, we haven't really had much conversation about Shai Buium ever since 2021. If you needed the update here, Shai Buium is a 21-year-old defenseman. San Diego, California is the birth date. He is 6'3", 220 pounds as a left-handed guy, and he was drafted by the Detroit Red Wings in the 36th overall spot, second round. Now, at this point in time, when I'm recording this audio and preparing to pre-upload it on YouTube, he hasn't signed a contract with the Red Wings. Maybe by the time this video is public on YouTube, he already signed, and maybe we'll just change the thumbnail and everything a little bit later. But, for now, Buium is a Red Wings guy who is wrapping up his third season with the University of Denver Pioneers. Now, before we go over into that, obviously the elephant in the room here is the fact that Shai Buium has a brother who happens to be eligible for this year's NHL Entry Draft, and his name is Shai Buium. We've made the Why I Want video talking about him and his entire profile. He is one of the best defensemen in the entire draft this season. He is so good, so skilled, and he has himself a killer stat line. He is one of the best defensive prospects we've ever seen in terms of just raw, hard point production. But the interesting thing about the Buium brothers is that right now, if you go over to the Denver Pioneers and their points, Shai Buium, the Red Wings prospect who is already 21 years old, actually produced fewer points than his younger brother. Shai Buium had 50 points in 42 games played. Shai Buium had 36 points in 43 games played. Now, of course, they're both defensemen and they're playing on the same team, but when it comes to Shai Buium, he has himself a resume that still is worth talking about, even though he may be overshadowed by his significantly younger brother. Shai, as we have talked about, had produced a pretty significant amount of points for the Pioneers this season, a pretty big increase from the 21 points he had last year and the 18 points he had 2 seasons ago. He literally doubled his point production from 2 seasons ago till now, which is a great progression to see out of a guy, and if you read the Elite Prospect Scouting Report, it says here that Shai Buium's hands and feet work independently, each transmitting different information to his opponents. With his changes of paces, fake shots, and constant eye deception, he's able to turn zone exits into inside lane entries, creating passing lanes and hitting teammates through heavy pressure. He does give and goes with space-filling mentality, allowing him to create scoring chances for himself or his teammates. And when you watch a lot of the tape, you see what the Pioneers did to win themselves another national championship in the NCAA, you're going to see a lot of those skills out of Shai Buium. Sure, you could debate the magnitude as to how good he is compared to his brother, but still, Shai has a lot of skill in that regard. Being able to fake things one way, go the opposite way, trick opposing players, and open up lanes for shots, passes, and skating lanes, compiled with the fact that he is a big dude at 6'3", Shai Buium is one of the more underrated and least talked about prospects in the Red Wings system. And to help us out as to what's going on with his profile, we'll go over onto Detroit Hockey Now and read this piece published by Tim Robinson earlier yesterday, talking about how prospect Buium is adding another natty to his resume. Take a look at what Robinson goes out there and says. Shai Buium became a national champion for the second time in 3 seasons. It happened when the University of Denver beat Boston College 2-0 on Saturday night. He was taken in the second round by the Wings in the 2021 draft. So you gotta remember, Shai actually had himself another national championship with the same Pioneers team in 2021-2022. They won then, and then they also were the regular season champion the next year, and another year later in 2024, they had themselves yet another national championship. Shai went out there and said this in the media: "It's what we go for. It's why you come to Denver, to win championships," he said in a post-game interview on ESPN. "There's no better feeling, especially playing with my brother. I'm so happy right now." Both Shai Buium and his brother Zeev assisted on Denver's goals. The rest of the article goes out there and talks about the game itself and some of the other goal scorers, etc., etc. So you can go ahead and read what the article says about that. It will be linked in the description below. I'll also leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to the interview, because it is on Twitter, and it's so awesome just seeing Shai and Zeev Buium both sharing the moment with the reporters out there. They've got a lot of energy, and it's awesome to see. Of course, they just won the national championship, so they're probably feeling pretty good. But for the Red Wings' sake, Shai had himself a really good game. And Red Wings Prospects goes out there and summarizes it in this tweet as well. Shai Buium had 1 assist and was a +1, 2 shots missed and 2 shot blocks in a 2-0 win in the final game. He also assisted on the game-winning goal, and he was absolutely crucial in defensively killing off penalties and shutting it down for the Pioneers. Second national championship in 3 years. ELC Watch starts now. And here's the thing, even though Shai Buium may not have the flashy point production like his brother Zeev does, as we had talked about in the Why I Want video, Zeev is literally like the top NCAA freshman scoring draft-eligible player of all time, something crazy like that. He's so good, so many points, but Shai has those defensive qualities that make him valuable still. Big dude, solid dude, shutdown dude, gets points when his team needs them the most, and has been a part of multiple championship-caliber teams already. So you want to talk about culture, you want to talk about bringing a winning mentality into the Detroit Red Wings and the Grand Rapids Griffins? Look, by the time this video was published on YouTube, maybe Shai's already signed a contract by now. Who really knows? But at this point, Shai Buium has a lot of intangibles that he is bringing over to this Red Wing system, should he sign soon and should he make his way over to Grand Rapids, let's just say, for next season. Now, I get it, there is a conversation to be had about that same Griffins team and whether or not there would be enough spots to fill for an extra guy like Shai Buium to make himself known on the roster right away. There are a few guys that you could say could rotate around in the Grand Rapids Griffins decor, but for now, with Shai being what he has been, this is yet another guy that I think Red Wings fans should be excited for, and a guy that we haven't really talked too much about, which is why I wanted to make this video. You know, there are always prospects making themselves known, and we're talking about the Edvinsons and the Berggrens and the Axel Sandin Pelikas and all these other guys, but some of the players that are just in the NCAA, you know, they may be a bit older, they may not have the same top-tier first-round star power like these other guys do, but they still are valuable. And Shai Buium definitely is a part of that. And of course, we can't get by in this video without bringing up the very possible hypothetical situation. What if the Red Wings straight up just lose in their final few games against Montreal and they end up falling out of the postseason? What if the Wings subsequently then maybe win a draft lottery? Maybe, best case scenario, they start drafting somewhere high in this year's draft. Maybe they go 6th or 5th overall or something like that. I'm not necessarily too sure on how the math works out for teams that are in the 16-ish range of the draft, but if the Red Wings find themselves in a much higher draft position in 2024, could we see Stevie Y take Zeev Buium, Shai's younger brother and subsequent national champion teammate? Who really knows? That's another question for another day. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you are a fan of the Denver Pioneers, what are your opinions about the Buium Bros going out there and doing their thing? What are your thoughts on the way Shai has progressed from 3 seasons worth of play in the Pioneer system? And if you're a Wings fan, what are your expectations for Shai, assuming he comes over to the Wings soon? If he signs a contract, then okay, this video exists and we can just talk about that in the comments section. But if he hasn't signed yet, that's okay too. We can still talk about what he could be. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Shai Buium, Red Wings prospect. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.